So we have our next speaker. Please take it away.
Hey, good day. What do I see here? Exactly. Yeah, this is about an own concept about metalines, embedding them in comments. Actually, in my proposal, I said I'm just using a package to introduce the concept. However, I had the glorious idea to actually start adding some things in my talk yesterday evening. So yeah, let's see how we go. Just quickly an overview. We have just to think about it, why metadata opposed to normal data, why embedding it in comments. I promised a schema in my proposal. We'll see about that. And then, yeah, learning by doing, having a quick look at some examples, and then the rest we'll see how it goes with the time. So, why metadata opposed to normal data? Well, it's about interlinking all possible data. Every data needs to be in context. Data by itself is not much worth, and we have a lot of useful data. But if you put it in context, it makes a lot more sense often. It really gives you a whole web where you can link in. This one here is a really important one. Weaving webs of interlinked atomic data units. So I really want really small data units. I don't want files. I want to interlink a lot of different stuff. It can be large, big, whatever, information, but linked. Hierarchies are used everywhere. It's obvious why. It's very easy. You categorize the whole lot. Also computationally, it's advantageous. We have it in folders, digital and otherwise in computer science. But it has its disadvantages because very often it actually does not really match reality. It really restricts us. Our brain does not. I think if our brain worked only with hierarchies, we wouldn't be where we are at the moment. I think we wouldn't have made it to the caveman stage. So that's what I'd like to do a lot more in the computer. Actually, I want to almost get away from the explorer and have a completely different take at data. So embedding it in the comments, well, there is one obvious advantage. As soon as you have it in the comments, you can actually always use the same kind of meta language. The parser just needs to be able to look in the comments of the different languages. Of course, if you then work with that language, then you need to write different packages a little bit differently, but you can actually use the same thing. This is very important. In fact, you can even put it in a Word document, run that thing over it. The idea is that you actually have it takes all the little data out, and at the end, it can actually save it somewhere else and use it again later on in other documents. A little bit like brain cells. Yeah, the schema, it's kind of work in progress because it evolves as I realize what is necessarily or what is not, these kind of things. I don't have a ground plan. Now, I have some objectives that need to be satisfied. It needs to be intuitive, succinct, powerful, that's obvious, and all these kind of things. And especially, I want it to be extremely extendable later on. There is the pang is something I introduced just recently, and I wanted to show that today, but that was a bit too risky. Well, we'll keep that in mind when we go through the thing. So if we look at Literate, it starts with a source file, and out of the source file, it can start making all possible other files, notebooks, standard, markdown, documenter. Today we're going to use documenter, if I have the time. Here we kind of see the workflow of that one. This one here is Literate. We just have chunks of text and chunks of code. And that's how everything gets chunked up and then worked with it. Here, I briefly show, you have the text chunks and things, and the parser is going to recognize that. The big difference with GoLiterate is just to show the concept, actually, of that metadata. It's not really my final destination of it, but yeah. With the metadata, I want to be able to use documenter or those kind of things a lot more in a powerful way. So you have a metadata, hierarchies. We talk again about hierarchies. And with very little code, can you achieve a lot. So just bear with me here briefly. For instance, we have here a height. So this will be a meta line. It's a baby meta line. It's a baby example. Now, here we can see that the height itself disappeared, but nothing else disappeared. These are only baby examples. You can see how this changed in the markdown, and then in the output it is gone, right? At the top, usually I wouldn't show that. That is for the file level, because you have a whole hierarchy. So you can set it on file level, user level. You have, we'll see it in a sec. So what happens if I put this one here down, like this one here? Now I call that attached. It's a little bit like with the doc strings. From here on, all the things that are attached to it will actually also react. So they will be hidden here, for instance. As you can see, it's gone in the output. These are just examples to show it. I mean, that's not difficult to do. More interesting is actually this with the inheritance and the meta hierarchy. Hierarchies are, after all, useful. Ooh, 1 minute. Yeah, well, so you would have a whole file here, basically, and you have this one here. Here you see how it inherits. So the height gets passed on. Also, if you see on top there, the height is called, it gets automatically written into a visibility. That's a type. Yeah, so it goes on. Here, yeah, that's all autocompletes. This is a type. That's what I wanted to show. So what seems still important, you can maybe see it the best when we actually get here. So you can actually just write the title in the meta line, and then it automatically starts making titles like this one here. Of course, that's nothing groundbreaking. We could do that for 50 years. It's more the idea, it captures it, and then it can store it away, and it will take the whole other data away with it. And there's a whole interface now that you can start using Literate or GoLiterate in a completely different way. It has bit vectors for it, a whole interface with, yeah, Alterants. Just very briefly, following categories. The idea is then actually to have plug, absorb, and go functions. These are the functions I have for Go, for documenter. That's not really what I have implemented. It's too easy, but yeah. No, I mean, you said I'm basically out of time, right? Yeah.
Sorry, we have to continue with the schedule. Please, a round of applause for the speaker. In the meantime, the next speaker can set up. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone have any question for the speaker? Yeah, I do have a question. When you mentioned that this meta document can be linked to the Word, like the app, do you do that manually or do you do that automatically? Is there any way to link it with Word?
With work?
Yeah, with Word. Like, you know.
Well, no, I mean, and those things are just in any document. And maybe you're not even going to see it. It's going to hide, but it's going to, you can basically use it in whatever thing you want. In Word. Yeah. I understood work. Yeah, you can put it in Word. You just need the program to run over it. And of course, then in the final document, it's gonna extract it. It's gonna, I mean, because you're not gonna pass on that thing. That's